Good afternoon. Welcome back. Are we having fun now, chat? Brian, you take profit on those AMC calls today? And by today, I mean like in the last 2 minutes? Just got out. Oh, you didn't get into those? Oh. I was going to make a whole story and everything. About the trend line rejection. Entered the AMC calls over here. Again, we talked a lot about the support buying. All of our charts that put a lot of points on because of a gamma squeeze with the options. We were looking to re-enter them. We have about, again, there's at least 30 or so charts. The number keeps going up because as it starts to come over here on the tail end, these squeezes that are happening from the options. You entered this position over here. We talked about not buying all the way out of the money. Why? Because the profit you just made from having the calls that were around this area compared to way out of here out of the money, you're never going to ascertain a intrinsic value over here in this move where you want to be taking profit here, right? So being able to realize this gain instead of sitting in this position overnight hoping that tomorrow it goes up, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You take the opportunity while it's there. You don't hope for something to happen later. You don't go on like a drive and then hope you don't get, I don't know. There could be like so many dumbass analogies. I'm not even going to go there. Point is that you don't buy $10 strikes over here when you can buy something that's going to have value and get paid on today. You're not getting paid on those others. You have to wait for them for it to go further. Hoping and sweating overnight is not a fun time. Now, what are we getting? We're getting our usual gamma squeeze that we talk about. And again, it comes out of this tightening that we talk about. That's why we've been looking at a lot of positions that are like this squeeze that's happening. It's not that there's all of a sudden something better or a better reason to go buy GameStop. No, it's hard to look at the chart. Let me log it. It's not that there's somehow now a good reason to buy it. No, it's the squeeze that's occurring where you just get enough demand to tip the scale. Market makers go buy the underlying, squeeze it. Again, this has nothing to do with shorts or anything. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. All those tickers are getting squeezed just like we always talk about. And we look at it through levels, right? How do you enter this trade? We talked about the only way we take this trade is once it breaks this level of supply. After that, how are you managing the trade? You're just managing it with levels. You're either trading up to this trend. Again, you cannot see it very well. You can't see it very well in terms of price. You don't have a target. You don't have anything. There's no such thing as knowing when a top is or anything. You're in and you're out. Mobsky showed a good profit. You're getting in. It's free. It's a free trade. It's a trade that has zero downside when you take that trade. You've got a billion other buyers behind you. Zero downside. But guess what? Your downside is increasing and increasing as you get up here in terms of not being able to exit, right? Nothing wrong with making a few grand in 5 seconds, right? The AMC one, AMC is a little different. This trade over here, and we talked about the difference on this trade. There is a difference on this trade when you take it. Just like when you look at some of these other charts, there is a difference between this move that we talk about in all the charts all lining up, right? There's a different level of a squeeze inside there. So it's important to see that. In terms of the market itself, again, everything is basically the same as this morning. A continued move with value. It's very important to understand this idea still. You're new. You need to understand where the money's going, the flow. Money went into value. Value being, again, energy, banks, any chart that needs to retrace, that got beat to shit by COVID, right? Energy, banks, REITs, travel, all of those tickers. And we look at the Russell because small caps are also sort of a part of that idea of being beat to shit, not being the big boys, as in the tech, right? Here's tech. You want to be in tech today or do you want to be in value, right? It's starting to come now. You sure? It's going to catch up. You want to be in the leader or you want to be in the ticker that's behind? You want to make the money now, not later. You make the money now, you can make more money later with that money, right? FSR, talked about from this open. I exited this position. If I want to re-enter, guess what? Chalk it up to transition. Took profit, ready to enter a new contract come tomorrow if it's going to head to the upside. No problem with that. Am I sad that I'm I only got a few 100%, and I could have got a few hundred more if there is a possibility of a gap tomorrow. No, don't care. See you later. See you tomorrow. Right? What are we putting for a trajectory? All-time high. We're on a trajectory of all-time high, continuing the trend. You don't need to go against the trend for any reason other than a timing of trades. We know not to buck a trend. We understand when a consolidation's happening and that we need to transition and get ready for the next move. It was not exactly difficult to manage through a market consolidation in a pullback when you had trades that you could just stay within the whole time. And that's why I kept hounding on the travel trade, the energy trade as we go through these, as we're watching the end of the market. You could just sit in this trade the whole time. So some of you are like, oh man, I'm losing money on my trades, because you're in dumb trades. You're in dumb trades, diamond handing memes. You're sending your cousin Greg diamond hands memes of why you're still in the dumb contract you're in, trying to convince him that there's literally nothing I could have done. I mean, who knew that this was going to happen? And then that's your reason why you're not in other trades, right? And then today, of course, now today's a good day because it's green, right? You can't be doing that. You can't go back and forth and convince yourself of some ridiculous ideas, right? It's not a surprise. There are no true surprises in price. There's times when gaps happen. Sometimes we can predict those. Other times it's a variance, right? There's no absolutes, but there are no true surprises, right? Open, we talked about through here. We'll see how this finishes off the day. This has a gap chance, right? In terms of probability, this has a gap chance because of the resistance the supply wants to gravitate towards. We got 2 minutes, probably not going to get there by close. So that should be interesting. Doesn't look like GME is going to open back up by the time market goes. Again, on these type of trades, you can't be holding that overnight. You day trade those. Anyone wants a diamond hand memes, any of these trades. If you have a trade that goes over 10% or something, and your contracts are up over 100%, and you want to tell yourself that you're gonna hold that into tomorrow in hope it goes up more, just trade it again tomorrow. It's a dumb trade to begin with, right? Why not just take the money? That's silly. That is so silly, right? It's so silly. Visa and MasterCard, big day today. Again, from those charts last night. Really important to see this move and why this move made you more money than you would make on that GameStop trade, right? Yeah, it's dumb to think about, right? But this was a lot better trade than the GameStop trade, I would have to imagine. Those of you, I see some people that get like excited about like GameStop starts to move and then they're like, ooh, I want to go get that trade. But they're not willing to make other trades that are just technical in yes or no trades. Oh, is it opening on support and going bid? Yep, okay, go put $10,000 on that trade. Oh, GME's going, let me go put $10,000 on the trade. I don't know when I'm going to get out, but this is a lot of fun. I'm going to tell all my friends on WSB. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You can go make money on it and go make the trade, but to act like you can take that trade at any moment when it just starts moving and then you can't take other trades just shows exactly how some of the mindsets are out there, which again means you're trying to look for shortcuts over actual work. You're not willing to put the work in and look at charts when you can just go apparently to a chart that as soon as it just starts moving, oh, everyone's buying. This is so much fun. Hype. Yeah, I made the GameStop trade. Yeah, I made the AMC trade. Yeah, I made those trades. These are great. Am I going to act like I am a genie because of this trade and because of millions of other people making the trade? No, we're taking advantage of those millions of other people that think they're smart. We sell to the people that are buying. It's always been that way. It'll never change. Never change. And I don't mean to remove some of the excitement again. We're going to celebrate good trades. We criticize bad ones. We had a very good time. Some of you started the week not having a great week. You guys thought you were having a bad week. Again, we don't do good or bad. Well, we learn, right? Gains, losses, they usually lead to learning, and they lead to something in the future, which, if you're learning, should be gains, right? Overall, should be more gains than losses, right? This week, a lot of you had a hard time from starting the week off into yesterday. I think a lot of you probably had a hard time being able to pull the trigger on some trades, or just to be able to push your winning trades, or to just get stopped out and buy at a lower price. You were in a position, get stopped out and buy at a better price. Today, buy at a price. Those of you that didn't take any trades today, that's okay. But if there's opportunities in front of you, you got to take them. And you got to realize that now you can't go, okay, I just woke up. Prices are up quite a bit. But you know what? I'm going to go buy this thing that's up 500% today. And I feel good about that. That's not okay. You don't feel good about that. So you're going to know the difference. Okay, you weren't able to, you want to take a break today and you didn't want to trade and you missed it. That's okay. That's a part of your plan. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Let's take a look at the profit section. See what we got here today. And again, a lot of trades, you're not going to so even if you have a big day today, it's not that a lot of these trades you're probably not even realizing. So you have a bunch of unrealized gains. So again, usually, or this is why we do not say whether we have a good or bad day based on the profit and loss of that day, because almost always it's not coming until later. You're just continuing to push a trade. You're not going to get the gains that day. Right, so we never dictate how good or bad a day was based on P&L of that day. Almost always it comes in the form of just like those of you that are still working, you get a paycheck every couple weeks. Do you get paid every single day and judge based on the day? Oh, I didn't make any money today. Is that how you actually think? No, so don't treat trading that way. You don't, unless you're purposely just day trading, then P&L doesn't matter day to day, right? So let's take a look at profit and loss though. I'm guessing again, that a lot of people are getting pushed further unless you realize gains. I realized quite a bit today. That's fine if you didn't. Let's see what we got. JGR with daily P&L 2,000 started some new positions. So we know JJR obviously from yesterday put positions on. He's adding, so good example, someone that's not realizing. Ecto with a 20% day. Let me put some emotes on these. 20% day. Bunch of trades that everyone's making together here. Awesome trades there. Looks great. 20% is obviously a big number for one day. That's big. Fibs almost with the 20% as well. Again, those are big numbers. That's great. Good stuff. Realizing gains for 20% isn't going to keep you up. That's for sure. Brian with the 238. Awesome number. Awesome number. I know there's probably quite a bit of positions there as well. Met with the break-even day. Because he's impatient as fuck, he says. Okay, learning something at least. Learning something. I don't see an excuse attached to that. Could be worse if there was an excuse attached to that. Mopsky with the 11%, not including GME. It's awesome percent. Awesome. Oh, I forgot to emote. Tiger Shark with the 1,300. The big boy trades. That sounds like a pretty good number for someone that complains so much on the trading floor. Nice number. I just made 1,300, but I complain every day. All right, let's get the complaining down to a minimal level. Chris with the 8%, that's a nice number. 8-ball. McKeesus with 400. Good stuff. Tumbled down Meow with a 23% bagger. The quarter. Awesome stuff. And Venki with a 200 realized. That sounds like there's some unrealized out there. Looks like we're going to get some numbers from Venki as well. Great numbers, guys. Again, it doesn't need to be every day, but we'll celebrate when the gains are here, right? We can criticize losses and understand win and understand that you don't get to complain and have a bad day because you lost money, and you don't get to go gloating because you had a good day. But guess what? We're still going to celebrate fucking profit and realized gains for we're working hard. So even though we talk about you can't just be sitting in here and all mad all the time because you lost money and make excuses and it's a red day, so that's bad. Green day's good, and you can be all happy. No, but we will realize and celebrate gains and making good trades, because that's what it's all about, right? So it's not that we only go one way and that we only think that gains are good, and if you didn't make gains, that's bad. No, but we are going to celebrate good trades, of course, because again, it comes down to hard work, and if you're working more than the other side, again, someone else was on the other side of that trade, and they didn't make money. You just took someone's food off their table. So, I mean, we need to look at it in some way. And so that's probably the best light we can look at it. And then C Trader with the 1,600 realized. That's a big boy number right there too. Seen a lot of over $1,000 numbers. A lot of $1,000 numbers. Wait, is profit section etiquette to only put realized gains? I haven't been doing that, says Mobski. I don't think it really matters. I don't really care what anyone posts, so. All right, let's, for those of you heading out of here, obviously, those of you that were, stayed sort of unemotional and worked through everything, awesome job. Just overall, great day today. I think the focus on the floor was pretty good. So those of you that were able to take advantage of what we've been talking about, obviously great job. And again, it doesn't come down to what I say. It comes down to you doing it. I can sit here and, I'm not going to sit here and gloat about these positions and saying, all fucking week we've talked, or last couple of weeks we've been talking about once this level here breaks, aerospace and defense is going to go off. Your RTX, your GE, your SPR, once it breaks that level, it's going to go. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, so you told you. No, this comes down to you making the trade, right? It comes down to you making the trade. It's one of those things, right? It comes down to whether or not you're going to actually do it. And so you think about some of these trades today. You think about travel continuing to go. How much have we talked about travel? Just continuing and continuing. These trades, you see them again today. There's clear opportunities based on our method here to trade them. And again, it should sting. So again, we talk about celebrating gains and then, criticizing losses and not being sad about it. But guess what? You should be, and when I talk about being pissed, I don't mean being FOMO and, well, there was nothing I could have done. It's just sad that I had to work today. No, those are excuses. You do need to have some, not emotions that are going to affect you, but you should be pissed in a way that should make you focused so that the next time you can be there. Not to make a bonehead trade where you just enter anything. But again, travel, all of these tickers, again, every single day you miss it, you're telling yourself something or convincing yourself that you've missed it or that you can't make the trade. There's like something wrong in the mentality there that you have to remove, or else you won't ever be able to make good trades. So if you continue to tell yourself that, I can't make this trade, we transitioned 2 days ago, took profit, re-entered on a pullback. You could have re-entered on the pullback. You could have entered on the trend line today. There's a lot of examples of these trades across the market. And again, I'm going to go over energy in banks once more. Looking at the trend, look at the day ahead today. Think about the market in general today, continuing to move up. And then it puts even more points on because of it, right? These are not stopping. But again, the more you ignore them, the more you're going to let it run away from you, right? And it's also a problem that the market has. And when you start to let it run away from you, you continue to ignore it more and more. And you then try to find new things. Those of you trying to find novel ideas all night, you're not going to find better ideas. It's just not going to happen. There's nothing you can do to will something. And that's why I think when we sort of reset our thinking and just take it as it is and make the trades, you just got to make a trade, right? You just got to make a trade. MP got fucked yesterday, the market. Removing the market idea from it and just looking back at what it is, pull back into bid open, okay, there's something you can do there. There's ways that you can make these trades, right? There's a lot of examples of this across the market. Something like NCLX even, right? We had this in our account in the fund. Make the trade, it pulls back because of the market. Can you not go take this trade here yesterday or today? Are you going to tell me that a trend line is not support, right? However you want to draw this trend line in here, are you going to tell me that a trend line is not support? Again, it's not accurate, but you know what I mean. A trend line is support. You have support underneath you. Those of you that look at the trends and then say, nope, I need a pullback. Okay, well, you had a pullback. These type of things, again, even if you did well today, understand and criticize yourself what you missed, right? There's plenty of positions I missed. Plenty. Am I happy with the gains or want to celebrate my gains? Absolutely. But there's absolutely places that I missed. A lot of it comes from when you start to realize gains and you're like, holy shit, I just made quite a bit of money. I'll take a little bit of a break here. Maybe I'll come back and put some points in somewhere else later. A lot of times when you're taking profit, those seconds that you're not putting that into another trade, you're missing out on gains that you would almost always get, right, under a lot of circumstances. So today is a good example of that, and also not realizing gains today. A lot of you guys you're happy today and you're gonna get fucked tomorrow. you're gonna get fucked tomorrow. So, and you're gonna be right back to. And again, I'm leading this up because we don't want to get into the habit of being like, woohoo, green day, happy day, red day, sad day, because again, it's gonna happen where there's tickers or positions that you didn't take profit on, which is the right decision, right? But then tomorrow's gonna happen. You're gonna be down a few percent, and then you're gonna go, you know what? I'm gonna get out of this position. Then why didn't you just sell it today if you knew you were gonna do that? Always remember, it's you have a mental part of you that you know better than the market. So even following, I think I told Ecto was memeing, but when I answered that, it's true that you know yourself better. If the rules that we use state that, you know, if it's not a relative reversal, you shouldn't take profit on it unless it's like a ridiculous loss, right? If based on rules trading, you shouldn't be taking profit. You should be pushing it further for the chance of, you know, you lose 1% and you're going to gain 5% the next day, for an example. But you know that even that 1% you're going to take profit on, then just take profit on the day that it's making the move. Don't put yourself in the situation where now you're going to lose a day and then you're going to lose value and then you're going to exit it and you're going to be losing quite a bit on your position. Just take profit immediately. Enter the next trade, right? If you're prone to that, then realize yourself that you need to exit those trades. So if tomorrow, those of you that are in positions right now, and the market is going to take profit on its move because it was a big buy day, guess what? It's going to take profit on some moves. If you are the person that's going to take profit because the market is, then you shouldn't be in the trade right now. You should have already taken profit. So not to doom and gloom anyone's, happy profits or like unrealized gains. That's just the reality, and you got to do that. And so again, like a day like today, there are certainly some trades where I'm like, okay, I could have probably taken a few more points off, just realized the gain, because if it comes to a situation tomorrow in terms of opportunity cost that, okay, something's taking profit and I've already made such a profit on there that my risk reward is now getting a little bit flatter, my reward's getting a little flatter compared to the risk, then I'm probably going to take profit and move that somewhere else anyway. If you know you're going to do that, then be quicker. Pull the trigger. You have a question in your mind, pull the trigger on it. Don't watch price, right? Now, what are we thinking about this week? We're thinking all-time highs still. The market thinks all-time highs. We do need to price in a little bit of retail's flurry. We need to price in a little bit more of the gamma squeeze, understanding that a lot of this is because of the options. What did I say when the market was pulling back in here? That there is a fuck ton of options being bought. Go clip it. I think I told you guys to clip it. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to because this isn't on just in Discord. I said clip it. We had significant options buying in here, specifically calls, right? What does that do? It squeezes the market up. Squeezes it, right? What do we get? It's about as close to a squeeze you're ever going to get in terms of understanding, right? What does this look like? What does this look like? We understand it, right? And there is no surprises, right? We know exactly who's buying. We can see it. You can see it. You can go look at any of those charts and see it, right? It's not underlying buying by your friend or your cousin Greg. He's buying options, and it's causing market makers to buy the underlying. It's the same thing every day. In every week when this does happen, leading into the week or end of the week, what's going to happen by Friday? Decisions are going to be made on whether or not those are going to be paid. Calls are going to need to be paid and hedged further. They're just prepping for it now. If you go into all-time highs, there's going to be a lot of calls out there that need to get paid. This is speculating into that. Once the thing happens, it's no longer speculation. So you no longer need to be in those positions because the fucking calls don't exist anymore. Once the options expire, they don't exist anymore. Don't need to be hedged. So again, keep in mind the way these are going to work. It's not just constant movement, going to be back and forth on the speculation, but again, understand what's happening in the market, why value is squeezing the way it does, why banks keep trending, energy keeps trending, or why even travel keeps trading the way it is, right? When you think about some of these things, think about some of these ones that took profit today. What do you think is going to be the overall move on some of these trades, right? Yeah, it's taking profit, of course, but when you start to think about where your chances, should you be transitioning the trade up here? Should you have transitioned it the first time around? These type of trades, almost all of it, again, is lined up towards what's happening in the option market. You don't even need to look at this chart half the time. You just go look at the options and understand what's going to happen here because of that and in relation to timing. Why do we talk about all of these charts that look like this? I'm going to just use AMC because the move is here. Why do we talk about all the charts that had this very large rally and then pulled back and tightened? There's so many charts. You guys know what I'm talking about. Retail stores and everything else looks like it. It's because all of this, you have all of those contracts from in here that are being held. And if, see how price is holding a level in here? It's holding the supply. It's holding the supply, and anything above this $6 mark doesn't need to get paid. Any calls above $6 don't need to get paid. As soon as there's any movement above there, so turning that $6 into support and it's no longer supply and liquidity, it turns that whole thing on its head, which is why we talk about when this tightening happens, all it takes is for price to break out of that, and the whole thing now completely changes. You've got all this support underneath you now. You have a whole bunch of buyers, and guess what? All of those contracts that are out there, all of a sudden are worth something. They're actually worth something. And guess what? There's a lot more contracts out there than fucking people in just the shares over here by themselves. A lot more betting going on than just holding value, right? And so that betting leads into that underlying being bought because they have to. There is no scenario where market makers do not have to delta hedge against their fucking positions. It's just how it works. As a market maker, you have to. There is no way around it. And so again, supply and demand is the same way every single time. All of the supply gets worked through. It takes all this time. It took this whole 2 weeks to work through all of that supply. And again, this is for any chart out there that looks like this. It took all these 2 weeks for price to work through that entire level of supply, providing liquidity. And as soon as it all gets used, all of it gets used up, all those sellers get used up, it turns them into buyers. If you're not selling, you're a buyer in the fucking eyes of price. Because as soon as that curve just goes, that's it, right? That's the same level of demand. It's the same level of demand. It's the supply that got drained down to zero. And then guess what happens? Momentum starts. The idea of gamma squeeze starts. That acceleration gets going because now you're talking about, okay, well, we've got no supply to fucking speak of besides, of course, the trend lines that we've already mentioned. And that's where your transition point is. Again, it's choreographed every single time. You got to preempt some of these moves sometimes. So again, this trade over here, I think is a great example. A great example of this move here. Now, are there trades that didn't completely make this move yet? Absolutely. Something like Macy's over here. The market messed up a little bit of that idea yesterday. Removing that, even today, pulled back a little bit. Has this idea paid off yet? Well, certainly not yet. No, it didn't. So there's times when it doesn't work, but are we saying that retail stores are not bullish at this idea of convergence? Well, let's think about it. How many of you had made this fucking gap trade that we talked about for weeks, right? Like, again, all you had to do was push it through. How many of you just exited this position because it didn't move immediately, right? You took the first trade and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to get out of this trade. And then it starts making the move and over here you're like, well, you know what? It's okay. I missed this trade and it's all right. Again, it's these sort of moves we understand in terms of convergence and taking the trade. Again, retail stores were a no-brainer in terms of the eyes of value. Again, it's if you miss these trades come down to just seeing the chart and being prepared, right? Again, you're not going to make everything, but it takes fucking one. You just need to catch one of them. Do you know what the Ford trade was from open? If you took this from open, you made over 100% today at the money calls. If you took the Ford trade from open, it was 100%. Do you know what the trade was if you took it over here? Well, let me tell you a little something. Our account made the trade, and what's it up? It's up 15% today. Our account took the trade at the break of the trend line, 15%. You know what it was from open? Over 100%. That's the difference. It takes very little points and very little amount of time for have that big difference there. That's all it takes. So on a lot of charts, when this starts to happen, that little bit of timing that it takes for you to go find that position you want to buy, our chat's a good example of that. I'm going to talk a little bit about trying to get this order here. We placed an order for, I don't know, it was like $2,300, right? It's a pretty small order. I'm not used to making an order of that size, so I put it as my usual order. We use the iBalgo. It's a passive order. What it does is, so we bought 37 contracts, the April 13s. Put the order in, put the limit in there. I put the limit, I think we were at like, I can't remember what it was at. But anyway, it's splitting the spread, right? The algo's trying to split the spread here. Let me put it on like maybe we should put it on the 5 minute. Okay, through here. So this is where the This is where the algo is trying to buy it, right? Algo is trying to buy over here. So we put the order in. It was somewhere in this area, right? It was somewhere in this area. Put the order in. It's trying to split the spread, right? What's happening in here? Well, the bids. You think of bids and asks. This is moving up. So as this is moving up, again, the best time to be buying is when it's moving up from the support. But again, we're looking for a break. So what's happening here in terms of buyers and sellers? Well, the sellers are expecting a move through this level of supply because they are the supply. So they dictate the supply. So they're putting their asks a little bit higher. The bids are saying, well, I know there's a lot of sellers in here, so there's probably going to be a rejection. So let me bid down a little bit lower. The option chart does look a little similar to this. Maybe I can load it up. I don't know if we have time. Fuck that. Okay. Anyway, so I put the order in, right, to split the spread. So what's happening? Well, the spread keeps changing because it keeps dinging on this trend line, right? And so every time the price every time it pulls back and wants to move forward within this whole area, what's happening is the asks continue to increase. The asks are continuing to increase because them being the supply and they're the ones holding price, there's an expectation that the buyers want to buy before this breaks, because if you wait to buy after the trend line, you're just screwed, because again, once this liquidity gets worked through, all of this gets worked through, the price is going to just move, right? So there's an expectation in terms of buyers and sellers. And so what happened was that as the bids are lowering in here and the asks are increasing on every single move, back and forth, the spread's widening. And so what is the algo trying to do? Well, the algo has an expectation that based on the history of the price today so far, price is increasing. So as the spread increases and the IV is increasing here, volatility is increasing, what's happening is that it has an expectation that for every time the bid moves towards the upside and the ask moves to the upside, it feels like it's missing price to get filled on. So what it does is it says it's calculating, and it says, oh shit, we got to get filled now or else we're going to miss the fucking boat, right? It does what you do when you're like, oh, I'm sitting here with my limit. Why am I not getting filled yet? When you could just go get filled at the ask if you really wanted to. And so what happened is that algo order sat there for about 5 minutes. We placed that order somewhere in here. It got let me see what the exact time was. It got placed at 11:15 or so. 11:15 or so. So it was over in this area. It was over in here. So it was bouncing this whole time. You could have got filled at a lower price, but the problem is that you guys placed the order right then and there in the very middle of it. When again, you placed it over here. Do you know what the option chart looked like over here before the order? This entire area here on the underlying, this is what it looks like on the option order. Up to the point where you guys placed the order, it was going up like this on a straight line. The whole options price was like this on a straight line. The underlying was like this. The underlying was like this. So all you had to do was place the order a few minutes earlier, and you would have been buying down here as opposed to up here, technically, as opposed to the underlying. So it was literally just a few minutes. I can take the picture. I'll take the picture for you guys real quick to show you, because I don't have anything else to fucking talk about anyway, so who cares? Let me show you guys on the screen so you can see it. I'll put the cursor right where your buy was, or there's a little blue dot you can see, but I'll put the cursor on top of it. Oh, you can see it on the line here. Where the vertical cursor is where your order got filled. The green line is obviously where you bought. Just to give an example here, because I think it's probably, I know you guys are still probably getting screwed up. Okay, here you go. Bing bong, bing bong. Put it there. Put it in the chat. Here you guys go. Just to give you an idea. Here's what the options chart looks like. So I put it in the chat. Those of you watching the recording, you can go look in chat if you want. Where that cursor is where you guys get filled. That's 11:15 or so. Okay? It's 11:15 or so. You can obviously see that green is our position in terms of the profit. So you see all of that time before, all of that chart before, this is where you guys get filled right here. If you look at the underlying on the stream right now, this is where you guys get filled. You see on that chart, that vertical line is this candle here. You see the difference in how it is on the underlying compared to the options? All of the options Before here, we're down in here in straight line, not even up here yet. And so all you had to do was just buy a little bit further. Now we're talking about cents, right? We're not talking about a lot, but this could be a lot on another chart. And if it's in a larger position, it could be a lot. So in terms of, but the difference here is that it's a small position, and this is where that liquidity problem comes in, where there's really not that much liquidity. And so at sometimes what you want to be doing is you're placing a smaller order, you're not getting much priority. I don't really have a problem with priority, but on your account you guys do. This is a good example of all you had to do was place the order a few minutes earlier, and just fucking you could have put the ask in. Whatever. You would have been fine. You would have put a limit order in, you would have been fine. And also what you can do, just for an example, let's say you're in here, okay? Let's act like this is an option chart, you're trading options. We're looking at the stream here. If you're in here and you want to be buying, right? You put a limit order in, this is 1206 right here. $12.06. So you want to buy, you put a limit order in. You can keep increasing that limit order, right? Okay, you know what? I'll put my order in at 1208. Oh, the asks are at like 1210. Okay, I'm going to keep moving mine, inching it closer and closer. If you're not getting filled for, a couple minutes, start to inch it up a little further. That's if you have a small account and you have time, right? Because you're going to have problems where you're a smaller account and you're not going to get filled correctly. You have the time and you're not going with much money. Maybe it is a lot to you that you can fucking take the time to inch your limit up and get a good fill. Those of us that are trying to buy something for get filled on like a $10,000 position for like 100 contracts or something, we don't really care about the 5 cents or so. We just want to get fucking filled. We just want to get in position. You guys, it matters because you don't buy it at the right limit, and then it's like, well, $100 is a lot to you guys if you're trying to get $1,000 positions, 10% of your position, right? And so when you start to think about these things, sometimes for some of you, based on what I had that experience this morning, if you're a little late and you know you're a little late to the party, go put the limit order in there and start to inch that thing closer and closer to the ask price and try to get filled immediately, right? Don't market order it and get impatient. But some of you, I know a lot of you have this problem where you're late. Almost half of you are always going to be late to a trade because you have a hard time entering immediately, and you need to understand that you have that weakness. And then you need to go enter it. Don't take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to go get that trade. Don't take 10 minutes sitting there and wondering, get filled on the trade if that's what you want. Because the more you sit there and watch price go up, the underlying might be doing this in here, and it was break even for what? It was break even for fucking an hour. But the options went up 20, 30% in that time. Options went up 20, 30% break even on the underlying. Because there's an expectation on the options that price is going to go up. So that's again where the chart on the options is completely different from the underlying. Even though later on it looks the same, on the underlying can be break even. Options are going up because there's an expectation you're going to break through that liquidity, break through and fill all of that liquidity, right? So hopefully beyond what I've already talked about in the video, since it was more centered towards more centered towards being perfect. No one here is really perfect. You understand when you're a little late to the party and you need to be you got to change up. You got to change it up a little bit, which is again why we try to make orders near open. You have the whole day ahead of you. You don't need to worry about that problem. You put the order in at open, there's so many different things happening at open that it doesn't really matter in the same way, right? It doesn't matter in the same way. You have the whole day ahead of you to manage that trade. This was a great trade, of course. I'm glad we get the account moving finally, and then you guys have full control of it, so I don't need to dick around all day trying to type the shit. Let me see, what's your upper trend line on AAL? Oh, LSU's not even in here. He can go look at the fucking chart. FPS entry tomorrow morning. Oh, GPS entry tomorrow morning? Yeah, so again, if you missed the GPS trade, this is the transition point, the trend line. It technically is today. It technically hit the trend line today. When you think about it overall, it's right there. So this would have been a transition day. So what do you have tomorrow? Well, you've got a support buy chance and a trend line. What happens if price gets into this channel? It's going to be extremely bullish, and that's exactly what you expect on a continuation pattern here, right? For price to get within the channel, trade on it. Absolutely an opportunity tomorrow. Now, the question, of course, is it's a yes or no trade. Price opens on support. Is it bid from the open? Is everything that we usually look at in terms of macros, the market, is it allowing for an entry, which would be demand it's at least just break even, right? Everything lines up. Absolutely, it's a yes or no trade at open to go buy or sell, even though this move has already happened, right? Some of you that have already made the trade, you can go make the trade again if you transition here today, or you're buying off the pullback, sold today, whatever it is, right? Absolutely, it's the same as always, right? Rules are to buy on support, sell resistance. These are yes/no trades. They're very simple. It's either there or it's not, right? If you buy and price gets rejected at the trend line here, you don't sell it at that point. It's like 0.5% there. You sell it at the break even, so your stop should just be there at break even, right? As always, should always be there at break even. Now, in terms of like overall EVs, again, did not enter Tesla here. These type of trades, I'm not entering Tesla, like I said, until confirmation of the Qs. You can see the Qs are in the trend line. So this is confirmation of that idea. What do you need today? You need just a little bit of, you need another candle tomorrow, solidifying that this trend is here in terms of tech. But again, I don't want to make this trade. There is no reason to go over here and make this trade when we have trades that are significantly better in terms of opportunity cost, right? Again, value. Like think about it. You guys held somebody that held positions that were moving down. You could have just pushed one position up. And this is again where all it is just not looking at everything. You're just not fucking paying attention. You're not looking at charts. When you have half the market going up and half the market going down, if you're on the wrong half, then that's just on you, right? And there's no excuse for it a lot of the times when it's just right there in front of you and you all have the same information, right? And it just comes down to some emotional connection to a trade, which is why I think today everyone did a lot better because they removed that connection to some trades and said, you know what, screw it. I want to make money. And you just jumped on it and took the chance as soon as it's there. It's not easy to do. And yesterday was hard decision to make yesterday, but today was certainly one not to miss, right? You missed it yesterday. Today's basically your last chance because now you're up here. It gets difficult again. Now you got to wait for a breakout. If you didn't already enter, right? That makes it hard. That makes it it's a lot easier to manage a trade if you entered here or here than it is to manage a trade that you enter here, right? Because now you're at break even when you entered here. Everyone else is up a significant amount. And again, almost every single trade we looked at here today, it was 100% from the open on the options at the monies. If you want to go make a bonehead trade on something else, and basically what you're saying in terms of opportunity cost, and you can't tell me like, well, I don't believe in that idea because it wasn't realized. It's true that if you didn't take some of those trades and you took something else, that you're basically shorting those other trades because that's money that was on the table that you could have taken. It's like saying that there's $1,000 on a table in front of you and someone's giving you the option. You can either take the $1,000 here on your left, right? Or you can take the $5 here on your right. Or even for some of you, there's a button that minuses $1,000 from your account. Which one do you want? And then you take the one that's break even, right? Or the minus 1,000, and you say, you know what? I know that $1,000 was right there in front of me, but listen, and you come up with some stupid excuse, and then it continues and continues and continues. It's really that simple. It is that simple. So again, for a lot of the trades, pull the trigger, just make a trade, place a stop, follow your damn rules. Tomorrow, there's going to be take profits again, right? So not every day are you going to get your big day. Today was a pretty big day, right? You look at a lot of these charts, put big numbers on, you don't get it every single day, right? So again, when we come tomorrow, we need to understand that it's not just about this day. It's not about just this day. It wasn't just about yesterday. It's about where price is going to be by the end of the week, where it's going to be next week, where you're going to be in the next month, right? You should be planning for all these things. If part of your plan is to take some gains in the short term, like a lot of us did today, you should be taking advantage of that. You get 10 or so 100% trades today that equals like, I don't know, 20% on your portfolio or something. Then you got to take those when it's there because now that gives you a whole new chances going into the future, right? With all that new capital. So you could take it when it's there, but understand that's just a part of a move, part of a trend. Again, don't forget where you're coming from. don't forget where you're coming from. Just like on pullbacks, we don't start freaking out and losing our minds when we understand where we're going and understand what we're doing here. We don't buck a trend. We are always aware of our timing so that we can get as close to that perfect timing as we can. But to get too ahead of ourselves on some of these ideas and get emotional is just kind of silly. Let's continue staying focused, continue looking at charts. Those of you that don't have the time to look at charts, don't go, coming up with your own ideas and trying to trade them and then make excuse for them. Look at the charts that you can. Only trade those. Keep it simple. If it's there at support, you can buy it. If it's breaking out, you can do it. Otherwise, don't be forcing anything, right? Those of you that didn't make money today or don't even have any positions, don't FOMO into tomorrow. Don't put your orders in right now and just wake up late and let them get filled at open. You got to be consistent. It's about every single day making trades, right? You made a fuck ton of money today, but you lost a lot yesterday. Okay, you're all over the place. It should be your profit and loss should not be a series of unfortunate events of up, down, woo, and then down here, and that's too much, guys. You can be happy about every single one of these and sad about each of those, or you can take the path of least resistance, which is to be a little bit slower and consistent. Maybe you lose some, you make some. Maybe you don't do much of anything for a little while, and then you get a nice trade and you build upon it. Now, you get stopped out on a gap. You get stopped out on a gap here, and you're moving up. It's consistency, building upon it. Maybe this is only $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. Maybe it's slow, but guess what? This starts to pick up when you're talking about percents in here, and when we talk about the 100% idea. 100% of $1,000, not that much. 100% of $10,000, really not that much either. 100% of $100,000, okay, well, that's a little bit. That's about yearly salary for some people here. I mean, 100,000 is over some of you. 100% of $1 million, okay, that's quite a bit. So again, if you stay consistent, let's say you're making on average 50% on a trade, that at a higher level of capital is a significant amount of money. So learn the right practices now so that as you compound your portfolio, get a larger amount from consistency. Trust me, those numbers that you're seeing now, if you were able to do that with a larger account, that'd be an absolute boatload of money, guys. Those of you that did 20% today, 20% of a $500,000 account, little different than your $10,000 account, right? Keep that in mind, because again, you're only gonna get there by consistency, not fucking back and forth and losing your mind every second. Do you go to work and lose your mind every single second when something's going on? If you do, you're probably a shit employee, right? I wouldn't hire you. I wouldn't hire half you guys in chat. You meme too much. I love the memes though. I love the memes so much, but sometimes I lose my mind in here. Absolutely losing my mind. Sometimes now I don't know. We have some new people here. Now that I'm allowing some new people in here, trying to get the new guys to learn right, they've got no clue what the hell's going on in here. I'm memeing half the time, talking about making fun of fundamentals, but they think I'm serious. I get DMs about, oh, so you think earnings is going to be really good, right? And I'm fucking memeing when I answer. And we got to be a little better on some of that, but it doesn't really matter, because if we're not having a good time and enjoying this moment, right? You can have goals of making a shit ton of money, but if you're not enjoying it in that moment, when you make all that money, you were stressed the whole time, and then when you made all the money, it's not going to make you happy that you reached your goal. You're going to set a new goal that's even fucking larger and be stressing the whole way through, sweating the whole way, not able to sleep. A lot of times and this is my last point, a lot of times when we set these goals and we're all fucking stressed trying to reach the goal, we think that once we reach the goal, we'll finally be, happy. No, as soon as we reach that goal, we set a new one, and the happiness is gone in 5 minutes, right? You got to have happiness during that time, during the grind and working. Enjoy every single day what you learn, no matter if it brings you further from your goal or closer to it. Enjoy every single one of those moments, and you can have goals, of course, and have a path. But a lot of times some of you will be like, yeah, I want to make 100,000 this year, and then you make 100,000, but you fucking lost your mind during that year. You just lost your mind, and you're stressed, and you work too much, and then you made 100,000. You don't give a shit. Now you set a new goal to make $1 million, and now you're fucking slaving away for the next few years, killing yourself over it, right? When you could just enjoy it every day, have some fun. It's not serious, right? We take it seriously through the work, and yeah, some of us work 15 hours a day. I look at thousands of charts a day, losing my mind, carpal tunnel out of my fucking ass with my hands. But I enjoy every moment of it. I enjoy every moment. I enjoy the days I lose money and I'm wrong. I enjoy the days I'm right. I don't have a ridiculous goal where that's going to make me happy. No, you're going to enjoy this. Those of you that are doing this full time now, that, you know, are having a hard time sometimes, you got to remember, you got to enjoy it because you chose that. You chose that because that's what you wanted to do, right? Not everyone gets to do their dream job, right? Some of you still have that fucking job that just pays the bills, right? Even if you're making a lot of money, it's not what you want to actually do. But this is, you guys choose to put your time and do this, then you got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy it, even if it is your income source and it takes a lot of work and effort. You got to enjoy it while you're doing it because you get the coolest job in the world. I have the coolest job in the world. It's stressful, it's eventful, it's competitive, it's fucking difficult. Chicks dig it. Just fucking have fun. So tomorrow we're going to have more fun. I'll see you guys in the morning. Have a great night, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the morning. Again, watch out for charts tonight. Do some studying. But don't stress too much. Don't stay up all night worried about your gains or your unrealized gains. I'll see you in the morning, guys.